Hello students of class 8. Today it's going to be a grammar class and as you can already see it's going to be on narration and asking questions. Okay, how to change questions of direct speech to indirect speech. Now we have already finished doing the statements. And we have seen that in statements, if the reporting verb is in present tense or in future tense, then the tense of the reported speech does not change. What changes? Only the pronoun changes. But if the reporting verb is in past tense, then what happens? If it is in simple present, it changes to simple past. If it is in present continuous, it changes to past continuous. If it is in present perfect, it changes to past perfect. Then say suppose if it is in simple past, then it changes to past perfect. Past continuous to past perfect continuous. Then say future, simple future to future past. Like for example, will change to would. Then again, must changes to had to. May changes to might. Suppose if it is in past perfect, then there is no change. Okay. If the sentence is in past perfect, it remains the same. So these are the rules of changing from direct to indirect if the reporting verb is in past tense. Again, another thing that we had learned was about when there are certain cases when even if the reporting verb is in past tense, the reported speech does not change. What are they in case where it is a universal truth or in case of a habitual fact? Okay, so these are the two cases in which we have seen in statements that even if the reporting verb is in past tense, it does not change. So keeping in mind these rules, okay, we are going to see how we change a question, okay, to question in direct speech to indirect speech. Okay, it changes. What are the things that we follow? Now let us take an example. Now say suppose I take this example that how are you? Say we take it as he said, how are you? This is what we are going to change from direct to indirect. He said, comma, how are you? Within inverted commas, question mark. So we are, this is a question. So what we are doing is that when we are changing from direct to indirect, what am I doing? I'm asking a question. So the verb changes to he asked. Okay, this is a WH question word. Okay, where, when, what, which, how. All 5 are WH questions. So when they are WH questions, it remains the same. So he asked how I was. Now see here in this particular sentence, in what tense is this particular sentence? How are you? Okay, so this sentence is in present tense. Rather, I would say simple present tense. So it changes to simple past tense. And we are not using the that. In any of the, if you remember statements, okay, say, if we take a statement, say he said, comma, I am ill. Okay, if we take this statement and if we change it from this is direct and this is indirect, this is direct, if we change it to indirect, what happens is that, what do we say? He said that he was ill. Okay, so in statements we are using this that. Okay, but for questions this that is not there. This that, we don't use that conjunction that. Okay, we can either ask, we can either use the verb as asked or inquired. Understood? So this is the way that we change from direct to indirect. Let us take more sentences. Okay, now we had just begun with the change of direct to indirect in case of questions. The sentence that we took was, he said, how are you? And we changed it. So there we saw that we didn't have that conjunction that as we used to have it in statements, and WH words remain as WH words. Let us take that example once again. He said, comma, how are you? And the next is, how will you change it? He, asking a question, asked how I was. Now let us take another sentence. Nandini said to the student, which school do you come from? This is again a question. Okay, so how we can, so Nandini is asking a question to the student, so we can write it as Nandini asked the student which school she had come from. See, in this we are not using any conjunction extra that in that way as we use in statements, and this which remains which, and this is in which school do you come from. It is in present tense, simple present tense. It changes to simple past tense. Okay, and so, and this WH word remains WH word. Okay, it does not change in that way. Let us take another example. 3. I said to Neetu, comma, where have you been all these days? Again, it's a question. So, what can we say? I asked Neetu where she had been all these days. So again, I'm using the verb asked here. Then I am, the WH question remains as WH question itself. This have been suggests that it is present perfect. Okay, so according to the rule of changing from direct to indirect in case of, when the reporting verb is in past tense, it changes to past perfect tense. Now, what about if say the sentences are not means the question is not a WH question. Say, do you know his name? Kind of sentence like this. Let's see here. Okay.